When Alex Rivera got home early that Thursday, he heard something he hadn't heard since the accident: his son's laughter. But it wasn't coming from Matt's room. It was coming from the basement gym. That sound froze him right there, in the entryway of his 3-story estate just outside the city. It had been 2 years, 3 months, and 14 days since he'd last heard Matt laugh like that. 2 years, 3 months, and 14 days since the accident that changed everything. Alex Rivera, 45 years old, CEO of Rivera Industries, a company that raked in $82 million a year, didn't know what to do with the sound of his own son's happiness, because he'd stopped searching for it a long time ago. If you have a child, you know what it means to hear their laughter. It's the sound that tells you everything is okay, that the world still makes sense, that tomorrow will be worth it. But when that sound disappears for 2 years, you learn to live in a silence that hurts more than any scream. Alex dropped his briefcase on the floor. His hands were shaking, not from fear, but from guilt, because he knew why he hadn't heard that laughter. It wasn't just the accident. It was because he wasn't there to hear it anymore. 2 years earlier, Alex Rivera had been a different father. He'd leave the office at 5 p.m., 3 days a week go to coach baseball with Matt at the park near their house. Matt was 9 then, and all the coaches said the same thing. That kid's got a future, quick feet, incredible reflexes, and something you can't teach: a hunger to win. Alex never missed a game, not one. He recorded every home run, every assist, every moment. He had a folder on his phone called My All-Star with 417 videos. He hadn't opened that folder in 2 years. The accident was on a Saturday, 3 in the afternoon. They were coming back from practice. A freight truck lost control on the highway. 4 tons of steel against a family sedan. Alex got out with a fractured arm and 3 broken ribs. Matt got out paralyzed from the waist down. T12 injury, the doctors said. Complete paraplegia, total loss of feeling in his lower extremities. The words a parent never wants to hear. Irreversible. Matt spent 4 months in the hospital. Alex spent those 4 months blaming himself. If he'd taken another route, if he'd left 5 minutes earlier, if he'd driven slower, if. When Matt finally came home, he wasn't the same boy anymore, and Alex wasn't the same father. The boy who dreamed of playing in the major leagues now spent 18 hours a day in a wheelchair staring at the ceiling of his room. The father who never missed a game now worked 14-hour days just to not think. Alex hired the best. Physical therapists with master's degrees from European universities, $15,000 a month, 3 sessions a week, rehabilitation equipment imported from Germany, everything money could buy. Matt rejected everything. I don't want to, he'd say. What's the point, he'd say. Leave me alone, he'd say. After 8 months, the last physical therapist quit. She told Alex something he'd never forget. Your son doesn't need my help with his legs. He needs you back. But Alex didn't know how to come back. He didn't know how to look his son in the eye without seeing his own failure reflected there. So he did the only thing he knew how to do: work, close deals, build buildings, run. 8 months ago, Alex needed to hire a new housekeeper. The previous one had left after 3 months. Too sad, she'd said. I can't work in a house where nobody smiles. Rosie Hernandez arrived on a Monday in March, 42 years old, 5'3", small hands with calluses from years of scrubbing floors. She'd worked 10 years as a waitress, then 6 years cleaning offices. She brought 3 letters of recommendation and a look that Alex couldn't interpret at the time. It wasn't pity, it wasn't sorrow, it was determination. Rosie asked about Matt in the interview. Alex explained the situation. Paraplegia, wheelchair, 11 years old, needs help bathing, dressing, eating. Rosie listened to everything in silence and then said something strange. I can help. Alex thought she meant with the housework. He didn't understand. Rosie started working the next day. She arrived at 7 in the morning, left at 4 in the afternoon. She did everything that was expected: cleaning, cooking, laundry. But she also did something that no one else had done. She talked to Matt, not like the physical therapists, with that professional, distant tone, not like the doctors, with that rehearsed compassion that sounded like it came from a textbook. Rosie talked to him as if Matt was still a champ. "Morning, champ," she'd say every morning. "Today, you're gonna eat everything, champ. Today is a good day to be strong, buddy." The first few weeks, Matt ignored her completely. Didn't even look at her. Rosie didn't give up. The first week, Matt didn't say a single word to her. He just stared out the window while Rosie prepared his breakfast, helped him get dressed, adjusted his chair. Total silence. The second week, Matt said thank you once, just once. On Wednesday morning, Rosie had made pancakes, Matt's favorites. According to Alex, Matt ate 2 bites and said thank you, so quietly you could barely hear it. But he said it. Rosie smiled like she'd won the lottery. The third week, Matt asked a question. "Why do you call me champ? I'm not a champ. Not anymore." Rosie stopped cleaning. She sat down next to him. She told him something Matt wasn't expecting. "Because champions aren't the ones who always win. They're the ones who keep trying when nobody else would. And you're still here. That makes you a champ." Matt didn't respond. But that night, he left his plate completely clean for the first time in 2 years. Alex noticed the first change a month later. Matt was eating breakfast. Not everything, but more than usual. Before he'd leave 3/4 of his plate. Now he left half. Small, insignificant, but something. The second change came in month 2. Alex came down for breakfast on a Saturday, something rare for him, and saw Matt in the living room. Not in his room, in the living room. Rosie was cleaning nearby, talking to him about something. Alex didn't hear what, but he saw Matt nodding. Another small change, another sign. But Alex didn't ask, didn't investigate, because asking meant getting involved, and getting involved meant feeling, and feeling was the only thing Alex had decided never to do again. So he kept leaving at 6 in the morning, returning at 10 at night, crossing paths with Matt, maybe 20 minutes a day. 20 minutes with his only son. In month 4, the weekend caregiver mentioned something odd to Alex. "Matt asked about you on Saturday. He wanted to know what time you'd be home." Alex felt a pang in his chest. Sharp, painful. He asked the caregiver, "And what did you tell him?" "I told him the truth. That I don't know. That you get here when you can." Alex went up to his home office and closed the door. He didn't cry. He hadn't cried in 2 years. But he just sat there in the dark for 40 minutes, doing nothing, just thinking about the question his son had asked. What time is Dad coming home? A simple question. A question any kid asks. But Matt hadn't asked it in 2 years because he'd stopped expecting him. Think about that for a second. Your son stops asking about you, not because he's angry, not because he doesn't love you, but because he's learned you won't be there. So, he stops asking, to protect himself, to avoid the disappointment every time. And now Matt was asking again. After 2 years of silence, he was reaching out to his father again. That meant something had changed, that Matt had hope again. And Alex didn't know if that was beautiful or terrifying. Because now that Matt was reaching out again, Alex would have to decide if he was going to be there or if he was going to fail him again. That night, Alex didn't sleep. He stared at the ceiling, thinking about his son, asking, "What time is Dad coming home?" Thinking about all the days he had chosen not to come home, all the excuses, all the meetings that weren't as important as he pretended. He got up at 3 in the morning, went down to the kitchen, opened his phone, the folder he hadn't opened in 2 years. My all-star. 417 videos of Matt playing baseball, running, laughing, living. Alex opened the first one. Matt was 7 years old. He had just scored his first run in an official tournament. He ran toward the camera, yelling, "I did it, Dad! I did it!" Alex closed the phone because he couldn't watch anymore. Something was changing in Matt, but something had to change in him too. Alex didn't know what, but something. It was in month 5 that Alex saw the calendar. He got home early one day, a rare occurrence. 3 in the afternoon. He needed some documents he'd forgotten. He went up to Matt's room to ask him something trivial. He doesn't even remember what. And he saw the calendar hanging on the wall by the window. A normal calendar, one of those you get for free from stationery stores. But every day had a gold star stuck to it, and under each star, in small, neat handwriting, someone had written, "Today you were strong." Alex counted the stars. 142. 142 consecutive days. He asked Matt, "What is this?" Matt looked at him. It was the first time in months that they'd looked directly into each other's eyes. Matt said, "It's my calendar." Alex asked, "Who writes on it?" Matt answered, "Rosie." Alex wanted to ask more. He wanted to know why, what for, what it meant. But he didn't, because asking those questions meant admitting he didn't know what was going on in his own son's life. So he just nodded and left the room. That night, Alex couldn't sleep. He stayed awake thinking about those 142 gold stars, about that phrase repeated 142 times. Today, you were strong. Strong in what? Strong how? A housekeeper who made $1,200 a month was doing something that $15,000 physical therapists hadn't been able to do. She was reaching Matt, but Alex still didn't know how. 3 more weeks passed. The calendar kept filling up with stars. Alex started coming home a little earlier, not much. 6 in the evening instead of 10, just to observe. Matt kept changing. Small changes, but changes. He smiled occasionally when Rosie spoke to him. He answered questions with complete sentences instead of monosyllables. One day, Alex heard him laugh, just for a second. Something Rosie said, but it was laughter. Real laughter. Alex stood in the hallway listening, feeling something he hadn't felt in 2 years. Something like hope, but also something like pain. Because a stranger was achieving what he couldn't. A stranger knew his son better than he did, and that hurt more than the accident itself. The first time Alex saw Matt smile was on a Tuesday, 6:30 in the evening. Alex got home early for once. He walked into the house and heard voices in the living room. He approached slowly. Rosie was telling Matt something. A story from when she was a kid. Something about her brother who had tried to teach her to ride a bike, and they both ended up in a rose bush. Rosie was laughing, and Matt was too. Alex stood there, hidden behind the wall, watching his son smile. How long had it been since the last time he saw that smile? 2 years. 2 years, 3 months, 27 days. Alex felt something break inside his chest, something he had been holding back all this time. He didn't cry, but he felt like he could. For the first time in 2 years, he felt like he could. He went up to his office without being seen. He sat down at his desk. He looked at the photo he had there. Matt at 9 years old, in uniform, holding a trophy. The last photo of before. Alex had spent 2 years avoiding this photo. Now he looked at it directly, and he asked himself a question he had been avoiding all this time. What am I doing? If this story is stirring something in you, if it's making you think about someone you love, someone you might have been avoiding without realizing it, don't let it pass you by. The stories that make us uncomfortable are the ones we need to hear the most. Stay until the end. This will change your perspective. Alex started doing something he hadn't done in months. He started observing, not just coming home and hiding in his office. Observing, seeing what was happening with Matt, and what he saw surprised him. Matt was waking up earlier. Before, he stayed in bed until 10, 11 in the morning. Now he was getting up at 7. Alex could hear him, the sound of the wheelchair moving, the sound of Matt talking to Rosie. Matt was eating better, much better. Alex checked the reports that Rosie left daily. 3 complete meals, healthy snacks, adequate hydration, everything the nutritionists had recommended and Matt had rejected for 2 years. Matt was asking for things, small things, a specific book, a movie he wanted to see. Yesterday, he asked to have the curtains in his room opened. He wanted to see the sun. Simple things, things any 11-year-old does. But Matt hadn't done them in 2 years. Until now. Alex didn't understand how. He didn't understand what Rosie was doing. He just knew something was going on. It was his neighbor, old Mr. Peterson, who finally told him the truth. They ran into each other on the street one Sunday. Mr. Peterson, 72 years old, retired. The guy who knew everything that happened in the neighborhood because he woke up at 5 in the morning to take his walk. Mr. Peterson said, "That Rosie of yours, she's something special." Alex replied, "Yeah, she does a good job." Mr. Peterson shook his head. "I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what she does with your boy, Matt." Alex stopped dead in his tracks. He asked, "What does she do with my son?" Mr. Peterson looked at him with something close to pity. "Son, she gets to your place every day at 6 in the morning. An hour before her shift even starts. She heads down to the basement gym with Matt, and she stays down there until 7. Alex felt a chill run down his spine. He asked, "Doing what?" Mr. Peterson replied, "I don't know exactly, but she does it every day, without fail, because I see her arriving every morning when I go for my walk." Alex didn't say anything else. He thanked him, walked back to his house and went up to his office, sat down, and for the first time in 2 years, he asked himself the question he'd been avoiding all this time. What is going on with my son? It was Thursday, 3 in the afternoon. Alex cancelled his last meeting of the day, something he never did. He told his assistant he had a family emergency. He drove home. He arrived 40 minutes later, and that's when he heard the laughter that was coming from the basement gym, the gym that Alex had built 5 years ago to train with Matt, the gym he hadn't set foot in since the accident, the gym that had become a mausoleum of everything they'd lost. Alex walked slowly toward the basement door. He went down the stairs. Each step sounded too loud. His heart was beating too fast. The gym door was slightly ajar. Alex peeked in, and he saw something he would never forget. Rosie Hernandez, 42 years old, 5'4", was in a plank position on the gym floor. Her arms were shaking, her face was red with exertion. Sweat was dripping from her forehead, and on her back, supported carefully but firmly, was Matt in his wheelchair. 84 pounds. 84 pounds of metal and boy. Rosie went down. Push-up number 43. She went up. Her arms were trembling even more. Matt was smiling. Not just smiling. He was radiant, counting out loud. 43, Matt shouted. "Come on, Rosie, 7 more to go." Rosie went down again. Push-up 44. Her breathing was heavy, labored, but controlled, as if she'd done this before, many times before. 44, Matt shouted. 6 more, you can do it. Alex couldn't move. He couldn't speak. He could only watch. Rosie went down. Push-up 45. Her arms were shaking so badly that Alex thought she was going to collapse. But she didn't collapse. She went up. 45, Matt said, louder now. 5 more! 5 more and we got it! We got it, he'd said. Not you got it. We got it. Rosie went down. Push-up 46. Her face was completely red. The veins in her arms were bulging, but she kept going. She went up. 46, Matt shouted. Come on, Rosie, for me, for you, for us. Alex felt something break in his chest, something big, something he had been holding in for 2 years, 3 months and 14 days. Rosie went down. Push-up 47. A sound came from her throat. It wasn't a scream. It was pure determination turned into sound. She went up. 47, Matt said. And now there was something in his voice, something close to crying. 3 more, Rosie, just 3 more. You're the strongest. Rosie went down, push-up 48. Her arms were shaking so much that Alex didn't understand how she was still holding herself up, but she went up. 48, Matt said, crying now, crying with emotion, with pride, with something that Alex hadn't seen in 2 years. Hope. 2 more, Rosie, 2 more, and we beat our record. Our record. Rosie went down, push-up 49. She stayed down for 3 seconds. 4. Alex thought she wasn't going to make it. But then Rosie shouted something, not words, just force, and she went up. 49, Matt shouted. 1 more, Rosie, 1 more, and we got it. 1 more, and I'm strong. And I'm strong. Rosie took a deep breath. Alex could see every muscle in her back trembling. He could see the absolute effort, the pain, the determination. Rosie went down 1 last time. Push-up 50. The silence lasted an eternal second. And then Rosie went up. 50, Matt shouted, and it was a shout of victories, of joys, of life. 50, Rosie, we did it! We're strong! Rosie collapsed gently, turning so that Matt in his chair fell to the side, protected. Both of them lay on the floor, breathing heavily, laughing, crying, and that's when Rosie said something that Alex would never forget. "No, buddy," Rosie said between breaths. "We're not strong. You'll be strong, son. You will be strong, son." She'd called him son. Alex felt the tears falling down his face before he even realized he was crying. The first time in 2 years, crying for everything he had lost, for everything a stranger was giving, for everything he hadn't been able to give. He backed away from the door before they saw him. He went up the stairs. He left the house. He sat in his car in the driveway, and he cried. He cried for 40 minutes straight. He cried for his son, for his guilt, for his absence, for the fact that a woman who earned $1,200 a month was saving his son, while he, with all his millions, had only known how to run away. When he finally calmed down, Alex asked himself a simple question. How long? How long had this been going on? Because this wasn't the first time. That was obvious. The way Rosie did it, the way Matt counted, the perfect timing, the exact numbers. "We beat our record," Matt had said. It meant there was a previous record. It meant this had been going on for a while, time that Alex hadn't been there to see. That night, Alex didn't go to the office. He stayed in his car in the driveway of his estate for 2 hours, thinking, processing, trying to understand what he had just seen. A housekeeper doing 50 push-ups with his 84-pound son on her back, not just once, regularly, with a system, with a record. Why? What for? Alex needed answers. But he couldn't just ask Rosie, because asking meant admitting that he didn't know, that he hadn't been there, that he had failed. So he did the only thing he could do. He started to investigate. The next day, Alex came home at 5 in the afternoon, earlier than usual. When Alex Rivera got home, Rosie was still there. Finishing up in the kitchen, Alex walked over. He asked casually, "How's Matt doing today?" Rosie smiled. That smile, which Alex now understood, meant so much more than it seemed. "He's doing great, Mr. Rivera. Today was a good day." A good day meant 50 push-ups, but Alex couldn't say that. So he asked something else. "Have you noticed any changes in him lately?" Rosie looked at him. There was something in her eyes, something that seemed to say, "You know I have," but she didn't say it. Instead, she replied, "Yes, sir. Matt is doing much better, more lively, more positive." Alex nodded. He inquired, "What do you attribute that to?" Rosie hesitated, just for a second. Then she said, "To the routine, sir. Kids need routine. They need to feel that each day has a purpose. A purpose. 50 push-ups were Matt's purpose now." Alex wanted to ask more. He wanted to know everything, but he couldn't, not yet. So he just said, "Thank you, Rosie, for everything you do." Rosie nodded. "You're welcome, Mr. Rivera." It's my job. But they both knew it wasn't just her job. Nobody does 50 push-ups with an 80-pound kid on their back for $1,200 a month. Nobody except someone who had a much deeper reason. That reason, Alex would discover 3 days later. It was an accident, or maybe it was fate. Alex got home early again, 6 p.m. Rosie had already left. Matt was in his room. Alex went upstairs. He knocked on the door. Matt said, "Come in." Alex entered. Matt was at his desk doing homework, something Alex hadn't seen him do in months. "Can I talk to you for a minute?" Alex asked. Matt looked up. There was something different in his eyes. It wasn't the empty gaze from before. There was life there. "Sure," he said. Alex sat on the bed. He didn't know how to start, so he simply said, "I see you're different lately. Happier." Matt nodded. "I am." "Why?" Alex asked. "What changed?" Matt looked directly at him. And for the first time in 2 years, father and son held each other's gaze without either of them looking away. "Rosie," Matt said simply. "Rosie changed everything." "How?" Alex asked. Matt hesitated. Then he said, "She treats me like I'm still normal, like I can still be strong, like my life didn't end in that accident." Alex felt each word like a punch. "Your life didn't end," Alex said, his voice breaking. "I know," Matt replied, "but I needed someone to show me that." "Not tell me, show me." "And Rosie has shown you." Matt nodded. "Every day, Dad, every day she shows me that I can be strong, that I can help, that I can have a purpose." 50 push-ups, Alex thought. That was the purpose. "How long have you been doing this?" Alex asked. Matt looked surprised. "You know, I saw something the other day," Alex admitted. "I saw you both at the gym." Matt turned red. He wasn't embarrassed. He was excited. "We're on day 186, Matt said proudly. 186 consecutive days, without missing a single one. Even when Rosie was sick last month, she still came. 186 days. 6 months. More than 6 months. All this time, every morning, an hour before her shift, Rosie came to do 50 push-ups with Matt on her back." "Why?" Alex asked. "Why does she do it?" Matt looked down. Then he said something Alex wasn't expecting. "Because she lost her son, and she doesn't want to lose me." Silence filled the room. "What?" Alex said, barely a whisper. Matt nodded. "She told me about it 2 months ago. She had a son, Daniel, 12 years old. He died 5 years ago in a car accident, and just like ours. He was in a wheelchair, lower body paralysis, just like me, just like Matt." Matt continued. "Rosie told me that when Daniel died, she felt like she had failed him, that she hadn't fought hard enough, that she had given up too soon. So when she met me, when she saw that I was just like Daniel, she decided she wasn't going to give up again, that she was going to fight for me like she didn't fight for him." Alex couldn't breathe. "The 50 push-ups," Matt continued, "are to show me that if she can carry my weight 50 times, I can carry the weight of my life. If she doesn't give up, I can't give up either." Alex closed his eyes. Tears fell silently. "Dad," Matt said softly. For the first time in 2 years, he called him Dad, with that tone, with love. "I know it's been hard for you. Rosie explained to me that sometimes parents pull away not because they don't love, but because they love too much, and the pain is unbearable." Alex opened his eyes. He looked at his son, this 11-year-old boy, who had just said something wiser than anything Alex had heard in his 45 years of life. "I pushed you away too," Matt continued. "After the accident, I stopped trying. I stopped talking. I stopped eating. I stopped living. And you didn't know what to do. Nobody knew what to do. So we both drifted apart." Matt took a breath. "But Rosie taught me something. She taught me that being strong doesn't mean not falling. It means getting up every day and choosing to try again, 50 times if necessary, 186 days if necessary, for as long as it takes." Alex stood up. He walked over to Matt. He knelt beside his chair, and for the first time since the accident, he hugged his son, really hugged him. Not a quick, awkward hug, a real hug. "I'm sorry," Alex whispered. "I'm sorry for not being there. I'm sorry for running away. I'm sorry for leaving you alone." "I wasn't alone," Matt said, hugging him back. "Rosie was here, and now you're here too. That's what matters." Father and son stayed like that for 5 minutes, crying, healing, starting over. When they finally separated, Alex asked, "I can see your progress. Matt mentioned that you keep records." Alex asked, "Can I see it?" Matt smiled. That smile that Alex hadn't seen in 2 years. "Sure, Dad. I'll show you." Matt wheeled over to his closet. He pulled out a binder. He opened it. Inside was a handwritten chart, clear, careful writing. Rosie's handwriting. The chart showed each day for the past 6 months. Day 1, 10 push-ups. Day 15, 15 push-ups. Day 30, 20 push-ups. Day 60, 30 push-ups. Day 90, 35 push-ups. And so on, climbing gradually, consistently, without stopping, until it reached day 186, 50 push-ups. Next to each number, Rosie had written a small note. Day 1, today we begin. Day 30, you're already stronger. Day 60, look at you, champ. Day 90, I'm proud. Day 120, don't give up. Day 150, we're almost there. Day 186, you're unstoppable. Alex read each line, each number, each word. This woman, this housekeeper making $1,200 a month, had meticulously documented his son's rebirth. While he wasn't there to see it, "Can I keep this?" Alex asked, his voice barely a whisper. Matt nodded. "Sure, Dad." Alex took the chart. He held it as if it were the most valuable object in the world. Because it was. That night, Alex didn't sleep. He stayed awake, staring at the chart, reading each line. Day 1, day 50, day 120, day 186. Each number represented a morning when Rosie arrived an hour early. No extra pay, no recognition, without anyone knowing, 312 hours. That's what 186 days at 1 hour per day added up to 312 hours of her life, dedicated to saving a kid who wasn't even her own son, a kid whose parents had hired her to clean bathrooms. Alex felt the shame like fire in his veins. The next day, Alex did something he had never done before. He got home at 6 in the morning. Before Rosie arrived, he waited in his car outside. At 6:10, Rosie's car appeared down the street, a 2008 Honda Civic, dents on the side, the paint worn. The car of someone who works hard for little money. Rosie got out. She was wearing her blue uniform, her white apron, her yellow cleaning gloves, but she was also carrying a gym bag. For Matt, Alex realized, for the gym. Rosie walked toward the service entrance. Alex got out of his car. "Rosie," he called. Rosie stopped. She turned around. Her eyes widened when she saw Alex. "Mr. Rivera, is something wrong?" Alex walked toward her. He didn't know what to say, how to start, so he simply said the truth. "I know." Rosie blinked. "You know what, sir? The push-ups, the 186 days, everything." The color drained from Rosie's face. She looked down. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I should have asked you first. I should have told you, but I was afraid you'd say no. I was afraid you'd forbid me from doing it. And Matt needed this. He needed—" "Rosie," Alex interrupted. His voice cracked. "Why?" Rosie looked at him. There were tears in her eyes. "Because I couldn't let him give up. I couldn't watch him disappear, like I watched my Daniel disappear." "Matt told me," Alex said gently, "about your son." Rosie nodded. Tears were falling now. He was 12 years old, lower body paralysis, just like Matt. But I didn't know what to do. I didn't fight hard enough. I gave up. And 3 months after being confined to a wheelchair, Daniel died of pneumonia. Because he stopped moving, he stopped trying, and I let it happen. Rosie's voice broke completely. I let him give up, and I lost him. Alex felt tears streaming down his own face. Rosie, it wasn't your fault. Of course it was my fault, Rosie said, openly crying now. I was his mother. I was supposed to save him, fight for him, force him to keep trying. But I was so scared, so tired, so lost, and I gave up. I let him give up, and I lost him. Rosie covered her face with her hands. So when I saw Matt, when I saw he was just like Daniel, the same age, the same injury, the same hopelessness in his eyes, I knew I couldn't let it happen again. I couldn't let another kid give up. Not when I could do something, anything. But why the push-ups? Alex asked. Why like that? Rosie took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. She said, because after Daniel died, I researched, I read everything I could about paralysis, about rehabilitation, about what makes some kids get better and others not. And I found something. It's not the physical exercise that makes the difference. It's the hope. It's having a reason to get up every day. It's feeling like you matter, that you can achieve something, that you're not a burden. Rosie wiped her tears. The push-ups aren't to strengthen his legs. They're to strengthen his spirit. Every day, Matt sees me carrying his weight 50 times, and every day I show him that he's not a burden to me, that his weight is a privilege to me, that I would choose to carry him 50 times, 100 times, 1,000 times, because he's worth it. Alex couldn't speak. He could only listen. And every day, Rosie continued, when I finish the 50 push-ups, when I'm exhausted, when I can't do any more, I tell him, you will be strong, buddy. Not you are strong, not you're strong. You will be strong, future tense, because I want him to know that he still has a future, that this isn't the end, that he can be strong again. Buddy, Alex said. You call him Buddy? Rosie nodded. Because when I lost Daniel, I lost the chance to be a mother. And when I met Matt, when I saw that I could give him what I didn't give to Daniel, I knew this was my second chance. Not to replace Daniel, never, but to honor him, to do for Matt what I didn't do for him. Alex took a step toward Rosie. He looked her directly in the eyes. Thank you, he said, his voice barely a whisper. Thank you for saving my son. When I didn't know how, Rosie shook her head. You didn't need to know how. You just needed to be here. And now you are. That's what matters. Can I watch them today? Alex asked. Can I see a session? Rosie hesitated. Matt knows that you know. Yes. Then yes. You can watch. 20 minutes later, Alex was in the basement gym, but this time he wasn't hiding behind the door. He was inside, sitting on a bench, watching. Matt was in his wheelchair next to Rosie. When Matt saw Alex, he smiled. That smile that Alex had thought he would never see again. You came, Dad. I came, Alex said. Rosie positioned herself on the floor. Plank position. Matt positioned his wheelchair over Rosie's back. Rosie adjusted the position, and they began. Alex watched all 50 push-ups, every one. He saw Rosie trembling. He saw Matt cheering. He saw the effort, the pain, the determination, the joy. He watched his son live. And when Rosie finished the 50th push-up, when they both collapsed, laughing and crying, Alex knew something with absolute certainty. He had been building buildings for 20 years. He had erected 50-story structures. He had closed $80 million deals. He had been called successful by everyone he knew. But this 42-year-old woman, making $1,200 a month, had built something he could never build with all his money. She had rebuilt his son, and Alex wasn't going to be a spectator anymore. From that day on, Alex arrived at 6 in the morning, every day, without fail. He watched every session. He cheered. He cried. He celebrated, and slowly, very slowly, he began to participate. First just by being there, then helping Matt get into position, then counting the push-ups along with Matt, then doing push-ups himself while Rosie did hers. Father, son, and the woman who had saved them both, training together every morning. It was in week 3 that Rosie noticed something. She had finished the 30th push-up when Matt said something strange. "I feel ticklish." Rosie stopped. "Where, buddy?" "In my leg. The left one, like tickles." Rosie immediately lowered Matt off her back. Alex rushed over. "What's wrong?" Rosie had an expression Alex couldn't decipher. It could have been fear. It could have been hope. "Matt," Rosie said carefully, "where exactly do you feel the tickles?" Matt pointed. "Here, on my thigh." Rosie touched Matt's thigh. "Do you feel this?" Matt nodded. "Yeah, I feel it." Silence filled the gym. Rosie looked at Alex. Her eyes were huge. "That shouldn't be possible," she said quietly. Alex understood immediately. Matt had lower body paralysis, T12, no feeling in his legs. The doctors had been clear, irreversible, but Matt had just said he felt something. "We need to call the doctor," Alex said. That afternoon, Matt had an emergency appointment with Dr. Ramirez, the neurologist who had treated him since the accident. Dr. Ramirez examined Matt for 40 minutes. Sensitivity tests, reflex tests, tests Alex had seen hundreds of times in the past 2 years. But this time, something was different. Dr. Ramirez touched Matt's left thigh with a pin. "Do you feel this?" Matt nodded. "Yes." Dr. Ramirez moved the pin further down, to the knee. "And this?" "A little to the ankle." "This?" "No." Dr. Ramirez took off his glasses, cleaned them, put them back on. He repeated the tests. The same results. Finally, Dr. Ramirez sat down. He looked at Alex, then at Matt, then at Rosie, who had insisted on coming with them. "This shouldn't be possible," Dr. Ramirez said slowly. "Complete T12 paralysis doesn't reverse. The medical literature is clear on that. When there's a total loss of sensation, it doesn't come back." "But," Alex asked, his heart beating so hard he thought everyone could hear it, "but Matt has feeling in his left thigh. About 60% of normal sensitivity, and traces of sensitivity down to his knee." "What does that mean?" Rosie asked. Dr. Ramirez shook his head. "Honestly, I don't know. I've seen improvements in cases of incomplete paralysis, but Matt had complete paralysis. There shouldn't be any improvement, and yet there is." Dr. Ramirez looked at Alex. "You've been doing something different. Some new therapy, some experimental treatment." Alex looked at Rosie. Rosie looked at the floor. "Push-ups," Matt said suddenly. "Rosie does 50 push-ups with me on her back, every day. 193 days in a row now." Dr. Ramirez blinked. "Excuse me." "What?" Rosie interjected. "I do 50 push-ups with Matt on my back every morning, as exercise, as motivation, to show him he can be strong." Dr. Ramirez was silent for a long moment. Then he said, "The movement, of course. The constant movement." "I don't understand," Alex said. Dr. Ramirez leaned forward. "In cases of spinal cord injury, sometimes there's inflammation that compresses the nerves. Over time, if the patient moves enough, the inflammation can reduce. The compressed nerves can regain function. But that only happens if there's constant, consistent movement. For months." He looked at Rosie. "You've been moving him every day, for 6 months. His spine, his muscles, everything has been in constant motion. It's possible, just possible, that that's reduced the inflammation enough for some nerves to regain function. It's possible. Those 50 push-ups may have saved his nerves." Rosie covered her mouth with her hands. Alex felt tears falling. Matt asked what everyone was thinking. "Am I going to walk again?" Dr. Ramirez chose his words carefully. "I don't know, Matt. Sensation is just the first step. Voluntary movement is different. You might regain more sensation. You might regain some movement. You might be able to use crutches. You might not. I can't promise you anything." "But there's hope," Matt said. It wasn't a question. It was a statement. Dr. Ramirez smiled. Yes, buddy, there's hope. And that word, that simple word, changed everything. If you've made it this far, if this story has moved you, I ask something of you. Think of someone in your life who needs you to believe in them, someone who is in their metaphorical wheelchair, someone who has given up, and decide to be their Rosie. Decide to be the person who carries their weight 50 times a day if necessary. Because that decision, that simple decision not to give up on someone, can save a life. Literally. The following weeks were an emotional roller coaster. The sensation in Matt's thigh gradually increased, 60%, then 65, then 70. Each improvement was small, but each improvement was a miracle. Alex had reduced his workload by 50%. He delegated projects, turned down contracts. For the first time in 20 years, he prioritized his son over money, and he discovered something surprising. He was happier. Rosie still arrived at 6 in the morning, still did the 50 push-ups, but now Alex was there, every day, without fail. And one night, 3 weeks after the appointment with the doctor, Rosie showed Alex something that completely broke him. They were in the kitchen. Matt was already in his room. Rosie was putting away the last of the dishes. Alex asked her something he had been thinking about for days. Rosie, can I ask you something? Sure, Mr. Rivera. Why did you never tell me about the push-ups, about Daniel, about everything? Rosie stopped washing the dish in her hands. She dried her hands with a rag. She looked at Alex. Because I was afraid, she said simply. Afraid you'd tell me to stop. Afraid I'd lose my job. Afraid I'd lose Matt, too. I would never have fired you, Alex said. Rosie smiled sadly. You don't understand, Mr. Rivera. People like me, people who clean bathrooms and wash dishes, we aren't seen. We're invisible. And when we're invisible, we have to do things quietly. Because if we speak up, if we ask for permission, the answer is always no. Alex felt each word like a punch. But there's something I do want to show you, Rosie said. Something I recorded, if you want to see it. What is it? Rosie pulled out her phone, an old phone with a cracked screen. She searched for something in her videos, then she showed it to Alex. This is from day one, Rosie said. Alex stared at the screen. In the video, Matt was in the gym, but it wasn't the Matt of now. It was the Matt from 6 months ago, the Matt with empty eyes, the Matt without life. Rosie in the video was saying, today we start, buddy. I'm going to do 10 push-ups with you on my back, and each day we'll do one more, until you're as strong as I know you can be. Matt in the video didn't respond. He just stared into space. Rosie positioned herself. 10 push-ups, slow, controlled. Matt on her back, expressionless. When Rosie finished, she said, see, champ, I carried your weight 10 times because you're not heavy to me. You're a privilege. Matt still didn't respond. The video ended. Alex had tears in his eyes. And now, Rosie switched to the most recent video, from the day before. In this video, Matt was radiant, counting each push-up, cheering Rosie on, laughing when they finished. And at the end, Matt said something that Alex hadn't heard before. I love you, Rosie. And Rosie responded, I love you too, champ. Alex couldn't watch anymore. He covered his face. He wept. Rosie put her phone away. She put a hand on Alex's shoulder. He's not lost, Mr. Rivera. He was just waiting for someone to show him he was worth finding. Thank you, Alex whispered. Thank you for finding him when I didn't know how. You found him too, Rosie said. You just needed time, and now you're here. That's the only thing that matters. Alex looked up. I want to hire you as his official therapist. I'll pay you whatever it takes. Name your price. Rosie shook her head. No, Mr. Rivera. Why not? Because I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this for love, for Daniel, for Matt, for myself. If you pay me more, it becomes a job. And I don't want it to be a job. I want it to be what it is, A mother saving the son that fate took away. Alex understood. Then at least let me increase your salary. For everything else, for the cleaning, the cooking, for being here. Rosie considered. Then she nodded. Okay. But the push-ups, those I do for free. Always free. Always free. That phrase stayed with Alex for days. This woman was giving the greatest gift anyone could give. Her time, her effort, her love. And she was doing it for free. While he had spent 2 years buying expensive therapies that didn't work because he thought money could buy healing. He had been wrong. Love can't be bought, it's given, and Rosie had been giving it all this time. It was in week 5 that the impossible happened. It was a Tuesday. Push-up session number 217. Alex was sitting on his usual bench. Rosie was on push-up 42. And then Matt yelled, "Wait!" Rosie stopped immediately. She lowered Matt. "What's wrong, buddy?" Matt was looking at his left foot. His expression was one of absolute shock. "Dad," Matt called. "Dad, come here!" Alex rushed over her. "What is it?" Matt kept staring at his foot. I think I moved it." Total silence. "What?" Alex said, almost without a voice. "My toe, the big toe on my left foot. I think I moved it." Rosie knelt beside Matt. She looked at his foot. "Try again, champ, slowly." Matt closed his eyes. Absolute concentration, his entire being focused on that toe. And then, so slight that it was almost invisible, the toe moved. A millimeter, maybe 2, but it moved. Rosie covered her mouth. Alex stopped breathing. "I did it," Matt whispered. "I did it. It moved. My toe moved. After 2 years, I moved." And then Matt started to cry. Not from sadness, from joy, from shock, from hope, realized. "I did it, Dad. I did it. I moved. After 2 years, I moved." Alex hugged him. Rosie hugged them both. All three crying on the gym floor, because they had just witnessed the impossible. A boy with lower body paralysis, irreversible according to all the doctors, had just moved his toe. Science said it was impossible, but love had made the impossible possible. Dr. Ramirez couldn't believe it. They returned to his office that same day. The doctor examined Matt for a full hour. Voluntary movement of the big toe on the left foot. Confirmed. Ooh, traces of movement in the second toe. Confirmed. Increased sensitivity up to the knee. 75% of normal. Confirmed. Dr. Ramirez sat down. He took off his glasses. He cleaned them for the 3rd time. "This isn't in any medical book," he said finally. "I've practiced neurology for 30 years. I've treated hundreds of cases of paralysis. Never have I seen a recovery like this in a case of complete lower body paralysis." "Ooh, so it's real?" Alex asked. "We're not imagining it." "It's completely real," Dr. Ramirez confirmed. "Matt is regaining neurological function that the studies said he had lost permanently." "But how?" Alex asked. Dr. Ramirez looked at Rosie. "Honestly, I think it's because of her. Because of the constant movement, because of the daily stimulation, because of the fact that Rosie refused to accept the prognosis." He looked at Matt. "And because of you, champ, for not giving up, for continuing to try, for believing that you could be strong again." "Am I going to walk?" Matt asked. "Not with fear, with hope." Dr. Ramirez chose his words carefully. "I don't know. The toe movement is just the beginning. Walking requires full muscle strength, balance, coordination. You might be able to stand with help. You might be able to use crutches. You might be able to walk with a cane. You might not get any further than where you are now." He paused. "But 2 months ago, I told you there was no hope of recovery. And today, you moved your toe. So I'm not going to tell you what's possible or impossible anymore, because clearly I don't know anything." Matt smiled, that smile that lit up the whole room. "Then I'm going to keep trying." "That's all you can do," Dr. Ramirez said. "Keep trying." That night, Alex called his brother, his parents, his close friends. He told them everything, the push-ups, Rosie, Daniel, the impossible recovery, everything. Some didn't believe him. Some thought he was exaggerating. Some said it was a coincidence. But Alex no longer cared what others thought. He had seen the miracle with his own eyes, and he knew that the miracle hadn't been accidental. It had been built, push-up by push-up, day by day, by a woman who refused to give up when everyone else had abandoned hope. The following months were a slow but steady process. Matt continued to regain feeling, from his thigh to his knee, from his knee to his ankle, from his ankle to his toes. The movement followed. 1 toe, 2 toes, 3, then movement in his ankle. Slight, barely perceptible, but there. And one day, 4 months after the first toe movement, Matt did something no one expected. They were in the gym. Session number 312. Rosie had just finished her 50 push-ups. Matt was in his chair, and then Matt said, "I want to try something." "What is it, buddy?" Rosie asked. "I want to try to stand." Silence filled the gym. "Matt," Alex said carefully, "the doctor said that could take years, maybe never." "I know," Matt said, "but I want to try. Rosie's been carrying my weight for 312 days. I think it's time I try to carry my own weight." Rosie looked at Alex. Alex looked at Rosie. Finally, Alex nodded. "Okay, let's try it." They positioned Matt at the parallel bars Alex had installed the month before. Matt gripped the bars, Alex on one side, Rosie on the other. "Ready?" Alex asked. Matt nodded. Alex and Rosie slowly lifted him. Matt's feet touched the floor, and for the first time in 2 years, 4 months and 18 days, Matt Rivera was standing. His legs trembled, his body shook. He could only support 10% of his weight. 90% was supported by Alex and Rosie, but he was standing. 3 seconds, 5, 7. At 10 seconds, Matt said, "Enough, I can't anymore." They lowered him back into his chair, and Matt smiled. That giant smile that Alex had thought he'd never see again. "I did it," Matt said. "I stood. Only 10 seconds, but I stood." 10 seconds, Rosie said, crying with joy. 10 seconds more than the doctor said would be possible. "It's a start," Alex said, also crying. "It's more than a start, Dad," Matt said. "It's a promise. A promise that if Rosie can carry me 50 times a day for 312 days, I can learn to carry myself, 1 second at a time, 10 seconds at a time, however long it takes." And Alex knew, in that moment, that his son was going to walk again. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not in a year, but someday, because Matt had learned the most important lesson anyone can learn. Strength isn't never falling. Strength is getting up every time you fall. And Matt had been getting up every day for 312 days. He wasn't going to stop now. 1 year later, Alex Rivera was standing in the basement gym, the same gym he had avoided for 2 years, the same gym where he had witnessed the miracle. But today was different. Today, he wasn't watching Rosie do push-ups. Today, he was watching his son walk. Matt Rivera, 12 years old now, was standing between the parallel bars, without Alex's help, without Rosie's help, just him and his crutches, one foot and then the other, slowly, trembling but moving. 5 steps, 10, 15. Alex counted each one, like Matt had counted Rosie's push-ups for 547 consecutive days. Because that's how miracles work. You count them, you celebrate them, you remember them. Matt reached the end of the bars. He stopped. He was breathing heavily, sweating, but smiling. 19 steps, Dad, Matt said. Yesterday it was 17. The day before it was 15. You're getting better every day, champ, Rosie said from her place next to Alex. Rosie wasn't a housekeeper anymore. Well, technically, she still was. But no one in the Rivera family saw her that way. She was family. She was the woman who had saved Matt when no one else knew how. Alex had tripled her salary. He had given her full medical insurance. He had bought her a new car when the old Honda finally died. He had given her everything money could buy, but Rosie still came at 6 in the morning. She still did her 50 push-ups with Matt, because some things aren't done for money. They're done for love. "I want to try without the bars," Matt said suddenly. Alex and Rosie exchanged glances. Without the bars meant only crutches, only Matt supporting himself. "Are you sure?" Alex asked. Matt nodded. "Rosie has carried me for 547 days. I think it's time I carry myself completely alone." Rosie approached. She kissed Matt on the forehead. "Then do it, buddy. Show us how strong you are." Matt took a deep breath. He grabbed his crutches. He walked away from the bars, and he walked. They weren't perfect steps. It wasn't normal walking. His legs still dragged a little. The crutches carried most of his weight, but it was walking, real, independent, walking, without help. 3 steps, 5, 7, at 10 steps. Matt stopped. He turned to Alex and Rosie and smiled. That smile that said it all. That said, "I did it." That said, "I'm strong." That said, "I didn't give up." Alex couldn't contain himself. He ran to Matt. He hugged him. He cried. "I'm so proud of you," Alex whispered. "So proud." Matt hugged him back. "I'm proud of you too, Dad." "Of me?" Alex asked. "Why?" "Because you came back. Because you decided to be here. Because you chose to try with me, like Rosie taught me to try." Alex cried harder. Rosie joined the hug. The 3 of them together. The family that pain had broken and love had rebuilt. That night, Alex did something he had been planning for months. He called Dr. Ramirez. He asked if they could meet, not as doctor and patient, as colleagues, as partners. "I have an idea," Alex said, "and I need your help to make it a reality." 2 weeks later, Alex Rivera announced something that surprised everyone he knew. Rivera Industries would donate $5 million to create the 50 Push-Ups of Hope Foundation, a foundation dedicated to helping families with children with lower body paralysis, not just with money, with something more important, with hope, with community, with a system. The foundation would offer free training for parents and family members. It would teach them the Rosie method, 50 push-ups a day, constant movement, unbreakable love, absolute refusal to give up. And Rosie would be the director. When Alex offered her the position, Rosie cried. She said she wasn't qualified, that she didn't have a college degree, that she was just a housekeeper. Alex told her something she would never forget. "Degrees don't save lives, Rosie. Love does. And you've shown more love in 547 days than all those so-called professionals with fancy degrees who tried to help Matt for 2 years." Rosie accepted. The 50 Push-Ups of Hope Foundation opened its doors 6 months later. On the first day, 27 families arrived. 27 children in wheelchairs, 27 desperate parents, searching for hope. Rosie taught them the method, 50 push-ups a day, or 10, or 5, whatever they could manage. The important thing wasn't the number, it was the consistency, it was the message. Each push-up said, "You are not a burden." Each push-up said, "I will carry you as many times as it takes." Each push-up said, "I'm not giving up on you." And Matt was there, walking with his crutches, telling them his story, showing them his progress. "If I can do it, you can do it," he told the other kids. "You just have to try, one day at a time, one push-up at a time, one step at a time." Some children improved dramatically, others improved only a little. Some didn't improve physically at all, but they all improved emotionally, because they all learned the same lesson that Matt had learned. Strength doesn't come from your legs. It comes from your heart, and when someone is willing to carry your weight 50 times a day, when someone refuses to give up on you, when someone loves you enough for it to hurt with that love, then you discover a strength you didn't even know you had. 2 years after the day Alex first saw Rosie doing 50 push-ups, The Rivera family was in their backyard. It was Matt's 13th birthday. There was cake, there were decorations, there were friends and family. But most importantly, there was joy. Matt wasn't using a wheelchair anymore. He still used crutches. He probably always would. The doctor said complete recovery was impossible, and they were right. But Matt didn't need complete recovery. He just needed enough mobility to live, to smile, to have purpose. And he had that. Alex was watching Matt play baseball with his friends when Rosie approached him. "Thank you," Alex said, "for everything." Rosie smiled. "You're welcome, Mr. Rivera." "Alex," he corrected, "not Mr. Rivera anymore. Just Alex, or better yet, family." Rosie nodded, her eyes shining. "Family. There's something I've always wanted to ask you," Alex said. "That first day, when you saw Matt, when you decided to do the push-up, how did you know it would work?" Rosie laughed softly. "I didn't. I had no idea if it would work. I just knew I had to try, because not trying meant giving up again. And I'd already given up on Daniel once. I wasn't going to do it again." "But what if it hadn't worked?" Alex asked. "What if Matt hadn't improved at all? Would you have kept doing it?" Rosie didn't hesitate for a second. "Of course. Because even if his legs had never gotten better, his heart needed to heal. And that could only happen if someone showed him that he was still worth fighting for, that he was still loved, that he still mattered." Alex felt tears streaming down his face. "How can I ever thank you? You saved my son." Rosie shook her head. "No, Alex. You saved mine. When I lost Daniel, I lost my purpose. Matt gave it back to me. You gave me a second chance to be a mother, to do things right, to honor my son's memory by helping yours." Rosie paused. She looked at Matt playing. "So really, the ones who should be thanking, I don't know if it is you to me or me to you. I think we saved each other." Alex hugged him and Rosie hugged him back, two people whom grief had destroyed, rebuilt by the love they had chosen to give. "Dad!" Matt yelled from the yard. "Come here! I want to show you something." Alex walked over. "What's up, buddy?" Matt grinned, that mischievous grin that Alex loved. "I want you to try something." "What?" 50 push-ups. Alex blinked. "What?" 50 push-ups, Matt repeated. "Rosie does them every day. I've been practicing, and now I can do 20. I want to see if you can do 50. Alex looked at Rosie. Rosie was smiling. She knew something Alex didn't. "I don't know if I can," Alex said honestly. "I'm not as strong as Rosie." Matt walked closer. He stood in front of his father, leaning on his crutches. "Dad, it's not about being strong. It's about trying. It's about not giving up. Rosie taught me that, and now I want to see you try. Even if it's just one push-up, even if it's just the attempt." Alex understood. It wasn't about the push-ups. It never had been about the push-ups. It was about showing your son that you're willing to fight, to try, to not give up. Just like Rosie had done for Matt for 547 consecutive days. "Okay," Alex said. "I'll try." He positioned himself on the ground, push-up position. All the guests gathered around, watching, supporting. Matt started counting. 1. Alex went down. He pushed up. It was harder than he expected. 2. He went down. He pushed up. His arms were already shaking. 3. He went down. He pushed up. He thought of Rosie, doing this 50 times, with 80 pounds on her back, every day, without fail. 4, 5, 6. He kept going. His arms burned. His back ached, but he kept going. 10, 15, 20. Matt kept counting. The guests applauded. Rosie smiled. 25, 30, 35. Alex didn't know how he was still going, but he thought of his son, of everything he had overcome, of all the days he had gotten up when it would have been easier to give up. 40, 45, 48. 2 more, Matt shouted. "Just 2 more, Dad. You can do it." Alex went down, push up 49. He thought he couldn't push back up, but he did. "One more," Matt shouted. "One more and you got it, like Rosie taught me. One more." Alex went down for the last time. Push-up 50. He stayed down. 3 seconds. 4. He thought he had failed. But then he heard Matt's voice. The same voice that had encouraged Rosie for 547 days. "You'll be strong, Dad. You'll be strong." And Alex pushed up. 50. He collapsed on the ground, breathing heavily, sweating, exhausted, but smiling. Because he had just fully understood what Rosie had done, the sacrifice, the pain, the absolute love it took to do this 50 times and with extra weight, every day, for over a year. Matt knelt beside his father. He hugged him. "You did it, Dad. 50 push-ups, like Rosie, like me. Now we're all strong." Alex hugged him back. "No, son. You made me strong. You and Rosie. You taught me that real strength isn't about not falling. It's about choosing to get up. Choosing to try. Choosing not to give up on the people you love." Matt smiled. "So you're going to keep trying with me, huh?" Alex nodded. "Every single day for the rest of my life, I'm going to keep trying with you." And so, in the backyard of his estate, surrounded by family and friends, Alex Rivera finally understood the lesson that a humble $2,000 a month housekeeper had taught him. Love isn't just a feeling. It's an action. It's a decision. It's choosing to carry someone's weight 50 times a day, if that's what it takes. It's refusing to give up when it would be easier to walk away. It's being present when every part of you wants to run. It's showing, not just saying that someone matters. And that lesson, that simple yet profound lesson, changed everything. 5 years later, the 50 push-ups of Hope Foundation had helped over 1,000 families. Some kids had regained mobility, others hadn't. But all the families had regained something more important: hope, love, purpose. Rosie was still the director, still teaching the method, still telling Matt's story, still proving that patient love accomplishes what desperate money can never buy. Matt was 17 now. He didn't use crutches every day anymore, only when he was tired. He could walk short distances without help. He could stand for hours. He could live an almost normal life. Almost, but not completely. And that was okay, because Matt had learned that you don't need to be perfect to have purpose. You just need to be willing to try. Matt now helped at the foundation. He coached other kids. He told them his story. He showed them his videos from day one. He proved to them that recovery was possible, that hope was real. And every year on his birthday, Matt did the same thing. He stood in the basement gym, the gym where it all had started, and he did 50 push-ups. No longer with Rosie carrying him. Now he did them alone, as a tribute to the woman who had refused to give up on him, as a reminder that strength is a choice, as a promise that he would never give up on others, like Rosie never gave up on him. And Alex was there every single year, counting, cheering, crying, because he too had learned how to do 50 push-ups, not because it was easy, because love is never easy, but because he had learned that some things are worth the pain, and his son was one of them. This story doesn't have a perfect ending. Matt never went back to playing professional baseball like he dreamed. He never regained 100% of his mobility. He never went back to being exactly who he was before the accident, but he became something better. He became someone who understood the value of effort, the power of persistence, the strength of unwavering love. He became someone who knew that miracles don't fall from the sky. They're built, push-up by push-up, day by day, choice by choice. And that lesson that a housekeeper named Rosie Hernandez taught him by carrying his weight 50 times a day for over 500 consecutive days, changed not only his life, it changed thousands of lives. Because when one person chooses not to give up on another person, when one person chooses to show love instead of just saying it, when one person chooses to carry another's weight 50 times a day, if that's what it takes, then miracles aren't just possible, they're inevitable. Think about someone in your life right now, someone who's struggling, someone who's in their own wheelchair, literal or metaphorical, someone who needs you to believe in them when they no longer believe in themselves. And decide to be their Rosie. Decide to be the person who refuses to give up. Decide to be the person who carries their weight 50 times if necessary. Because that decision, that simple decision, could be the difference between someone giving up and someone discovering they can be strong again. And there's no greater gift you can give another human being than that. The hope that they will be strong again. They're not strong now. They're not strong at this moment, but they will be strong. Future. Promise, hope. That's what Rosie gave Matt. That's what Matt gave back to Alex. That's what we all can give to someone if we choose to try. 50 push-ups of hope, one choice at a time.